I think one of Junior's most significant relationships is with his best friend, or his ex-best friend, but then comes back to be his best friend, Rowdy. Him in the beginning of the book, him and Rowdy are like best buds. They're close, talking, joking. But then Junior makes the move to the new school, to the new white school, Reardon, and Rowdy dislikes that and hates that, and he just feels that Junior's betraying his tribe. And so after he goes to Reardon, he gets all these new white friends, and Rowdy and him become farther apart. And so even though he's at Reardon, Junior still feels lonely, like quote lonely. Like he even goes as far as to write Rowdy an email and saying, "Hi, how you doing? How's it going?" But then after the basketball games and where Rowdy elbows him in the head and gets him knocked out, Junior just develops a hate for Rowdy. So then he just can't wait to play them again and beat him again. So when he does play them, the first 3 seconds of the game, he just takes the ball away from Rowdy and scores right in his face, gets all up in his face, and they just get annihilated. And the rest of the season for the Indian reservation team is just terrible. Junior feels bad about this, so he goes and then he apologizes to Rowdy and tries to make up for it, but Rowdy calls him a faggot. But he knew that Rowdy had somewhat accepted it. And then after school ends, Junior knows his ultimate home is the reservation, and he goes home, and him and Rowdy are back to being friends and hanging out, and they're even closer than they were before because their differences and how Junior has changed has made an impact on Rowdy, and maybe Rowdy can somewhat start to see that the white people aren't even that bad. Rowdy is basically Junior's like way of connecting back to the reservation and his one bridge back to the reservation and reservation life. So it affects Junior because it makes him think back to his family, like his real family, back on the reservation, and it helps him to think that maybe he does have two homes, but his real home is really at home on the reservation, and that he needs to still kind of go back there and recognize that as his family. This really opened my eyes for me about reservation life because I used to just think that they just lived in teepees and then they somehow just made the leap from teepees to houses, but like to sophisticated houses. But this book really opened my eyes and showed me that they were discriminated like blacks, and people were really racist against them, and it really taught me that they were living in the ghettos and they were poor and no one wanted to help them. So I really empathized for them and felt for them. I think the most significant chapter that had an effect on me was the chapter in which Junior gets back at Rowdy and gets what he wants and gets that revenge, a solid revenge. And instead of feeling good about it, he doesn't feel good about it at all, and even feels the need to write him an email and apologize. I definitely can relate to this because I've done this so many times. You know how competition, you just want to get back at the other guy, but in the end, you don't really want to. You don't want to rub it in their face. You just want to get out there and do a good job, because if you rub it in your face, and you make them feel bad, and then you feel bad, even worse. So it's just never good, and that really stood out for me when he got back at Rowdy and made Rowdy feel bad. In comparison to The Catcher in the Rye, I definitely would rate this higher. I love the amount of pictures, cartoons, visual. I'm a visual learner. I like that visual stuff, and all those pictures really made it interesting. And the spaced out font, not that cramped little. What's happening? I felt like I could actively read much more easier, and I felt like I could understand the text because I could be going from line, nice spacing line, instead of just where's the next line? I'd get lost in Catcher in the Rye, but yeah, part-time, just way better. I like the plot a lot better because it was something I can actually relate to. Catcher in the Rye, I can't really relate to being delusional, post-traumatic stress, none of that. I can definitely relate to this young kid, but discussing his young teen problems and fitting in and all that. So definitely better part-time Indian.
I think we got it.
Just reenacted the scene from when Rowdy elbows Junior when he's going up for the dunk / shot. So that was good. I just thought I might bring in Mr. Bear here because just like Arnold connects to his childhood by using comics, I connect to my childhood by having a bear, and he keeps me company, and I love him. Isn't he cute? Mr. Worm, and this is Mr. Crocodile. Mr. Worm had a few qualms about fighting Mr. Crocodile because Mr. Crocodile was stronger, bigger, faster, and had sharp teeth. But when Mr. Worm found out that Mr. Crocodile had the grip, Mr. Worm knew he would beat Mr. Crocodile. So they went at it, and Mr. Worm won. Mr. Worm won.